Good.
Fucking.
All right.
Hey.
Hey, Tyson, go lie down, buddy.
Go
ahead.
Go down.
Go lie down. Good boy. Take a nap.
I want to lie down and take a nap.
Wait. Seriously, guys. Tomorrow.
Don't even get me started on what tomorrow is.
What's tomorrow?
Don't do it, Matt.
Do it, Matt.
Don't do it.
Do it, Matt. What's tomorrow, Matt?
Tomorrow.
Wait. What's tomorrow?
It's the last NXT before WrestleMania.
That's not what I'm excited about.
Yes, you are.
No, seriously, I'm
Don't
so
lie.
excited. I haven't been this excited for anything in a long time.
Matt's about to go on tour.
That's not what I'm excited about.
Puppy's here.
I love the
He
puppy.
just worked out hard
Dude, I'm so excited.
for the
Some
last
people know
TNA.
why. Wait. There are some people that know why I'm excited because they're just as excited as I am. There's a lot of people that are just excited as I am.
What kind of people are super excited for tomorrow? Explain the people, then build the anticipation. Then tell
And this
us
will
what's
probably
tomorrow.
be released a month from now.
They're probably born in the 80s, these people.
Check.
What's today? Just so we know.
The date?
March
28th?
20.
March 28th.
Is it the 28th?
So
Yeah.
when it's April 23rd and we release this, tomorrow is what?
Well, look, hold on. What I'm so excited about,
This is so good. Try this.
do you not want me to say? Because everybody now,
Come on, man, just say
you've been
it.
saying it ever since you showed up today. So
I'm not going to say it.
no, you got to say it now. Do you want to write it?
Ooh, this is good.
I know that great. You want to show your arm?
I'm so
Thanks.
excited
And
because
then, like, sneak it out, like-
no, because the trailer for the It remake is coming out tomorrow, and today they released a trailer for the trailer,
I think that's really
and
impressive.
I'm so excited.
Honestly, this is probably top 3 most excited I've ever seen you.
I'm not kidding. I'm legitimately ecstatic that I get to see this trailer tomorrow because I heard that it was shown at South by Southwest, and everybody just is raving about it. And it's not even the movie; it's like not even a minute. I don't think it's like 30 seconds.
There's no leak.
And by everybody, you mean
Everybody,
Dude,
in
you can
Austin.
go online and type in "It" teaser or like Stephen King's "It" remake at South by, and there's so many articles written about it.
Now, how you talk about it and the orgasm you just had about it, I'm actually like legitimately pumped. I don't even like horror. Like when I saw The Hills Have Eyes, I then got in my car and kept checking my trunk. And I was like, oh.
Dude, wait, do you
I don't
understand?
really
Do you understand? Wait. Since I saw the first movie, like the original It movie, since then, I don't know how young I was. I was young. I was really young.
Okay.
Still to this day, I don't know, 20 years later, I look in drains when I walk on the street. I look in like drain pipes and grates. Like,
for Ninja Turtles.
no.
Is that where the skateboarding thing came from of like the dude peering out?
The skateboarding thing?
You know what I'm talking about? There's like a Santa Cruz maybe, and there's like a guy peering out, and it reminds me of, what's his name? The clown?
Well, there's this Pennywise. There's
Pennywise. It reminds me of
like
Pennywise.
one of the most famous
Wait, the
scenes.
clown's name is Pennywise?
Yeah, like the band. Mm-hmm. Right. I know.
So
that's where
one
you're
of
going.
So the name's not It?
No, see, it's an entity. It's It. So, okay.
But it has a name.
So
it's
okay.
not a guy
Do you
or
want me
a
to
girl,
give you
it's an it?
just a little bit of background for real?
I think we should
For
watch
real.
it and do a
No,
podcast where we
hold on.
talk about it while we watch
Don't
it.
watch it. Don't watch the original movie. Read the book because the book is so much better than the movie.
I have
It
so
is.
many books I'm reading.
Okay,
currently
well, wait. Do you
that I
really
don't
want to
have
know?
time.
Because I can tell you how this works.
Honestly,
Yeah.
no.
Okay. Then we won't talk about it.
Thank you for your honesty.
Your honesty is appreciated.
I kind of want to know. You've explained it to me before. He actually showed me the greatness of Freddy, why Freddy's face looks that way, where the hand comes from, and what it all means. And now I'm more invested where now I want to sit down, watch the movie, take you on a date, and then discuss afterwards.
Okay.
So when you get home, you have 9 or 10 days when you get home.
Me and Alex Wahlberg are going to see the actual It remake on September 7th, hopefully, the day before it comes out on September 8th, because we're going to go to an advanced screening.
Midnight?
Sure. I might even dress up.
I was gonna say-
I would do that.
I would do that for sure.
Okay, but
I'm
you're
in.
not allowed until you read the book.
How long?
I don't want to know anything.
The book is over
Beforehand.
1,000 pages.
I can't do that. I tried one of those books that was over 1,000 pages.
But it's a page turner, man.
I'm reading a book that's not a page turner right now. I don't think I'm ready for a page turner.
Well, it's a really cool concept.
We're doing
Somebody actually. Sorry, I know. I
we're doing
you.
the little bit of feedback that we had. Right, we're just doing it left and right.
What, cutting each other off?
Cutting each other off left
Well,
and right.
it's okay
We're like
right now.
zigzagging race cars that are just so pumped about winning.
Somebody asked me in the AMA that I did yesterday
Yeah, tell us about it.
if, like, who would win in a battle, Freddy or Pennywise the Clown?
Was this a Periphery AMA?
This was a Periphery AMA. Yeah, and I think Scott, who's like the founder of the All Things Periphery group, asked me who would win in a fight.
And
Pennywise would win.
why?
Because Freddy can only beat you in your dreams, right? So
I guess.
Well, that's how it works. Freddy can only get you in your dreams. So my logic is that Pennywise would kill all of the kids that Freddy was going to get in their dreams before he can do that. So by taking away all of his fun, Freddy's going to go get depressed and kill himself.
I'm sleeping with my eyes open right now.
It doesn't look that way. You're smiling. And
I'm more interested
moving.
in Scott. He started a Periphery like fan thing.
Matt gave me a little bit of shit for not even knowing who this is or was, not even being part of the group. When we all started hanging out again more recently, he was like, "You don't even know about that?" I'm like, "Well,
because
in the days of Kazaa and iTunes, or not iTunes, Napster, those were the days 10 years ago when I was looking for the B-sides and rarities and stuff. Nowadays, I just listen to the albums when they come out. I go see you.
I was just surprised because you claim to be a super Periphery fan,
Jordan.
which I will acknowledge that you are.
Right. But only for on the surface.
But you're not part of All Things Periphery.
I don't dig deeper. I
Okay.
just ask you what's going on for All Things Periphery.
Well, Scott Saigusa is his name, started this group called All Things Periphery.
Okay.
And
Strong last name.
he just brought together a whole bunch of really, really passionate Periphery fans to one place. And he's a great forum community moderator, super passionate. He's built it up to, there's like almost 4,000 members.
That's amazing.
But it's a secret group. So you have to be invited in order to join. So if you really are serious, I'll send you an invite.
All right, send me an invite. That's kind of like...
Jordan, I know you don't want an invite.
Yeah. No, there are a couple groups like that you're a part of that I think are great. I'm a part of one group, the Every Time I Die Idiots, ETI Idiots or something.
A little aside that's really cool about Scott.
Yeah, tell me.
He sent me an actual Freddy Krueger glove.
Wow.
As a
Of which,
present.
what did we do with that glove?
We used it with battle ropes. We worked out with it. Actually, you can see it on my Instagram.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really nice, that little...
So have you hung with Scott?
Yeah.
Where does he live?
Scott lives in, I want to say, San Diego. San Diego.
Okay.
I think.
Which
He's
you're
going to
not-
punch
you're
me if
not-
I'm wrong. I don't think he lives in LA. I think he's...
Somewhere in California.
Yeah, he's in Southern
And
California.
you're not going there on this tour.
Not on this tour.
The current tour that you're leaving for in 2 days, 3 days, where does it start? How far out does it go? And then where does it come back to?
It starts in Reading, Pennsylvania. It goes as far west as Chicago.
So not far.
Not far.
Have you played Reading before or been there?
Oh, yeah. Many times.
At Hershey Park, they have those old little cars that you drive, and you do the gas, but it's kind of hooked to a track, and you go maybe 7 miles per hour. But they have all the different cities in Pennsylvania, and Reading is one of them. And I just always thought of that as a kid because I would look at it and I would see it as reading, and then I was told it's Reading, and that kind of opened me up to, you can't believe everything you see.
Did you know there's a city called Yoakumtown? And it's spelled...
Yes, I passed that, and there's also like Blue Balls something on the New Jersey. I'll always see, but Yoakumtown too, and then the 14-year-old in me just lights up.
And do you say like Yoakumtown?
No.
Oh.
What about
I don't.
What about Linthicum?
What about it?
I don't know. Do you look at that and just be like, ha ha ha,
No.
Linthicum?
Speaking of,
Yeah.
and to tie it back to movies, what about Beavis and Butthead Do America?
It's a great movie.
But did you get pumped for the trailer? Like, was it that great?
No,
at the
I
time?
wasn't that pumped. I don't think there's any movie that's gotten me as pumped as I am for this movie.
Wow.
It's a whole different day where you went online and you saw this thing.
Do you know what I've been pumped for?
Wait a
before
second.
is
that?
the sequel book to The Shining called Doctor Sleep. See, I'm a huge Stephen King fan.
Right.
I love all his characters. I love all the stories. So that pumps me up. If I don't ever get starstruck, but I would totally be starstruck if I met Pennywise the Clown. I'd be like,
what about Stephen King?
Or like, well, Stephen King. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be starstruck, but like, I'd be more interested to meet like Freddy Krueger, like the real Freddy Krueger. He'd be like, I'll kill you, and I'll be like, yo, what's up? Sign this.
I don't think that's what you would say.
Dude.
That's what you would say? Yo, what's up? Sign this? Yo.
Okay. I mean, specifically,
What would you really
I'd be more
say?
like,
Jordan's Freddy.
I'd be like, holy shit, dude, you're real? That's fucking awesome. I've been following your whole career, like everything you've done.
It's just like him meeting. The first thing that comes to mind is Chad Sexton. This is so bad. That's not.
This is like you meeting, I don't know, like
Chad
Triple H.
Sexton.
Well, Justin and I had a conversation about a month ago.
Fuck yeah.
About, is there anybody that you could meet in person and actually get butterflies? Because Justin and I have talked, we've met plenty of people with high profiles and people that we even respect. But I think it has something to do with our own comfort and sense of self, that it doesn't really trip us out or get us nervous.
Now.
But we were trying, now, of course.
But back in the day, there were people. Like,
yeah, we'd geek out over whoever.
We did that crazy thing to be 311.
Right.
Whatever that was, right? And I think it was a little crazier. But now, totally different because we're older. We've been around a little
Did you guys geek out over Spinfire and Voodoo Blue?
No.
Damn.
I don't
No.
think so. I thought Dan was cool. Dan was super cool.
The thing about Voodoo Blue, which I respected, is that they were very, kind to us and approachable too. I don't think I really interacted with you guys in Spinfire at the time.
I agree with that.
I never interacted with you, but I definitely interacted with you.
And I guess maybe I think of like
I remember seeing you at the
summer
Wrecker.
shows.
At the Wrecker.
I don't even really remember.
I just remember you like hopping around saying like, "What's up, sir?"
What's up, sir?
That's what you used to call me. You'd be like, hello, sir. What's up, sir?"
But you were like a
I don't even
man
think
to
about that.
us. When you were 17 and we were 14 or whatever, you were like this little man to us.
I don't remember any of this honestly because I don't even really remember going to see you play shows. I remember you playing like a summer camp festival thing.
Right, with Jimmy's Chicken Shack.
Jimmy Chicken Shack.
And they
right.
played the little side stage at Camp Milldale.
And I was playing in the Moonbounds. That's all I remember.
And you ripped your pants.
I ripped my pants.
Right, you had to get it stitched
Fuck
up
yeah.
at the nurse's
Oh,
office.
Right.
I
Oh,
was crowd
that's
surfing.
incredible.
My
To
wallet
who?
came out.
To who?
Someone took the money and handed back the wallet.
Oh, that's great. Who were you crowd surfing to?
Jimmy's Chicken Shack.
Jimmy's Chicken Shack.
Great band.
Wow.
That's what you do when you see Jimmy's Chicken Shack at a Jewish day camp. Come on.
Yeah, you fucking crowd surf. So
I'm-
wait,
I'm so pumped that they're from here and once a year we still get to go see them. All right, back to your story.
no, back to you guys.
Oh, sorry.
Who would you? Who
Oh,
would,
right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Who would give you butterflies?
Super tangent. All right, go for it.
I think Vince McMahon. Because I don't think Triple H would.
That was not the one that we both talked about.
I don't remember.
We both
But
talked-
he has a reputation for being intimidating. Even like a lot of his employees are afraid to interact with him. But it also depends on context, right? So if I'm just out in public and I see him, it's going to be different than if I'm at like one of his shows and see him and he's in business mode. So there's
he's
context to consider.
doing the Billy strut?
But did I say someone?
No, we both said it was not Vince McMahon because for me, Vince I think is great but he's not up there on the guys that I'm dying to meet or people that I would be dying to meet. The person,
I don't even care to meet him either. I just think it would be intimidating.
No, it wasn't even intimidating. The one that we both said that's the person we want to meet that we would feel like an overwhelming sense of something bigger than us. Paul Heyman. We both said Paul Heyman. That was the guy. We both stuck on it. And last night I watched wrestling as the prep for WrestleMania. I didn't even know. You could have said, "Oh, what are the matches?" And I'd be like, "I don't really even know." Until I watch a little bit, and then I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can recall what's going on." But again, what do I hit you up about? What do I put out on Facebook or something? I'm talking about Paul Heyman and how great he is.
But would you be nervous
No, not necessarily nervous. I think I would be really, really pumped up to meet him and express everything I would want to tell him in how amazing I think he is. Just as a performer, as a businessman, as an entity, for everything that he's done, and how great I don't think there's, The Rock was close to that, and he's still great. But I think you put Paul Heyman in like any position, he'll just slay that shit.
I'd agree. So Matt, you do meet and greets at all of your shows, most of your shows?
Yeah, pretty much all.
So you're interacting with a lot of your fans daily on tour.
Yes.
So what's that like as far as, at the end of the day, you're a human being. All of your fans are human beings. You know, you guys all shit. You have fears. You fall in love. You have your hearts broken. So like, we're all the same in that sense. But I'm sure there's fans that geek out and get really nervous around you.
Oh yeah. Fans shake when you shake their hands. They're sweaty. If you take a picture with them, chances are 9 times out of 10 they're going to forget how to use the camera phone. It's going to be off. They're going to hit the wrong button. You get flustered, and you see it all the time. And we see it, and we do our best to make people feel calm. Because we're in this situation all the time. We're meeting people all the time, and we're not even like, I think it's ridiculous when people meet us and they're like that, because we're just like some glorified local band. You know what I mean? We're just normal dudes. So when people meet us and they're like, oh my God, I address it straight up. I'm like, dude, you all right? Shake it a little bit. Like, take a deep breath. Come on, let's do a deep breath. Come on. See, don't you feel better? Look, dude, I took a shit today too. You know what I mean? Like, and it was terrible. Like, don't you have those days? And I'll say shit like that, or like, I'll do my best to disarm them. And the way that we do our meet and greets, it's not traditional. Like, you'll see a lot of bands that just kind of like set up a table and they sit down and they sign a poster and everybody goes through the line and it's handshake, bye. We try our best to do like anywhere between 30 minutes to 45 minutes of just kind of like a free-for-all hangout where we don't stand in a line. We make a point to disperse. Like the 5 of us in the band that are there, usually we disperse, and then people can choose to make their rounds and come talk to us. And some people stay. Some people stay and they'll talk to one of us the whole time and they won't even bother meeting anybody else. Other people will go around and make their rounds and make a point to meet everybody. And we sign stuff as we do it, and we'll take, selfies and pictures. But for the most part, it's a conversation. It can be a lot of fun because you do disarm people. And then the way I do it is, instead of them being like, oh, so how's tour? I'm like, you guys will see. How about I want to get to know you guys?
Right.
And I really do. It's more interesting to find out about our fans and what they do than it is vice versa. And I have more to say, but did you have a question?
Yeah. Well, a couple points. One to that, I'm repping Colt Cabana, who is a pro wrestler, more at an independent level, but working with the company Ring of Honor currently. And he was introduced to me recently, and he was asking me questions. Same kind of deal. This is someone I've been listening to his podcast for many years and been a fan of his work for even longer. And for him to just treat me as an equal and asking me about the drum work I do, that made me feel like he normalized the situation. And it sounds like that's what you guys have an intention to do, is just to normalize you as just relatable people, right? But my question is, since you have this fluid kind of setup with the meet and greet, do you ever notice people that are more timid or shy? And then is that something that you guys are aware of as far as making sure they're included in the experience?
Absolutely. When I see people that do seem more shy, I do my best to pull them out of their shell. And I think we all do that naturally, because I think we can relate to that. Some of us more so than others in the band are a little bit more introverted in some ways. So I think that creates a really nice bonding point. And yeah, we want everybody to feel included and feel like they had at least a chance to get to know one of us, if not all of us, as a person. And we'll go as far, we did the Summer Jam camp last summer, where we arguably had 100 of our most excited, diehard fans, spending 4 days with us.
It was really 100 people?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is
full
a lot.
moon. At full moon, yeah.
Because when I've done the stuff with Benny Greb there, it was capped at 25, which seemed like a good amount of people to really get to know.
Remember, there's 6 of us.
Right. But even just like the space with everything, 100's a lot of people for intimate programming.
It was very cool, and we all got a chance at different points to talk to everybody. And you know how Full Moon sets up? Like they have the Roadhouse, they have like the area underneath where like the main house is. They have the barn. You have outside areas. So I mean, we made a schedule with different activities that people could choose to do, but it was really cool because there was a nice balance of drummers, guitar players, singers, people that like Pokemon, people that wanted to really jam and just play music, people that were into production. So between all of us in the band, we were able to put together like a really, really cool program for the weekend. But the magic, as you know from being in that place in particular for those camps, the magic happens at the meals. It happens at the bonfires. Right. It happens at during the downtime when people really get a chance to talk to you and see us interact as a band, but also interact with each other and tell stories. And now I feel like I've gained a lot of friends. People will say things like, "Oh man, you seem to have a lot of friends." And it's like fucking crazy. Yeah, I do, because I've been lucky enough to meet so many cool people. And one last thing I wanted to say about our fans, which is really cool. Time and time again, we find that our fans are usually, they're pretty much almost always musicians, but more often than not, they work in some sort of technical field, mainly science for the most part. So whether they're pharmacists or whether they're astrophysicists, whether they are researchers or they're architects, it's just, engineers. The majority of our fans work in that world. So it's always very interesting, and asking them questions is more than just surface level stuff.
Right.
I learn a lot from them. We ended up meeting we've met some pretty intense people that like we had no idea they were our fans. Like, or that like some of our fans were so cool or have done so many crazy things. Like people that have gone to, like worked in space and like worked on satellites. And,
That's wild.
But that kind of makes sense based on the genre. Just with what you guys do with time signatures and things like that, where it's more technical style of music.
And the production,
right?
Technical production.
I can see people with those interests being attracted to what you guys do.
Yeah, something that I would think about is that the band itself, you guys are like engineers, you guys are architects, building Nolly, I know, and I'm sure Misha is in there as well, and I'm sure everybody has a hand in it, but building tones that are super different, right? Like the bass tone sticks out extremely well in those records, and it's very different from most of the other stuff that you hear out there. And I think if I remember correctly, he was building it through more of a guitar rig with a lot of overdrives, distortion, effects, and it sticks out, not like a sore thumb, but it sticks out in a really good way. It's not buried in some kind of pocket like bass normally is. And so I could see, again, like, echoing Jordan's sentiments, that it makes sense why those people in those fields would be fans of your band. It's technical.
Yeah.
And that's on like a multitude of levels. It's not just one. But I wanted to go back and talk about Colt Cabana. I think the difference, though, with your story is the introduction.
Absolutely.
Right? So you had, and you can explain it, but if somebody close to one of them, or someone rather who they really trust, introduced them, I'm sure, not that this would always happen, and fuck yeah, Colt Cabana for not just letting you play into him, but playing into you and asking you, well, what do you do and what's your sort of
But his boss that night introduced him to me.
And that's awesome that you have that connection now, that triangle, through someone who could build that bridge that's so powerful in his life.
Right.
Because he, as a wrestling term, he puts you over.
Right.
Right? So you were already in good graces, and now Colt can ask you questions like, well, dude, what do you do? You already know what he does.
Right. So you're right in that sense that the interaction there was a different context, and it wasn't just a fan coming up to someone like that.
Right. But I'm sure if it was different and you weren't introduced, you still would find a way, now that you're older, you've been around, you've met many people, of a way to be relatable to Colt Cabana, right?
Right.
And I think that's a question that I had for Matt, that for someone who deals with anxiety, when you first started with Periphery and you first started to gain all of these new fans and you're playing new venues for the first time, what was it like for you to go out there and meet these people who, one, are nervous, but you may have been feeling some sort of anxiety, nervousness going out there?
Honestly, I didn't ever really experience that. I felt more of a responsibility to represent the band appropriately in the way that we want to in the way that we want to interact with our fans, you know?
Right.
And that's really all that mattered. And I mean, with Periphery, by that time, I had been in so many different bands. You know, I had been getting the compliments on things for years. So I knew how to take them and then turn it around and say, but what about you? What are you good at?
Right.
What do you do? You know,
normalize
let's talk.
it.
Yeah, because
Humanize it.
I mean, I think it's a lot of people have trouble taking compliments. You ever notice that? It's hard. It's an
absolutely.
awkward. To me, it's more awkward for me to have someone come up and say, "Hey, man, you're really a good drummer," or "I really like your band," or "That show was awesome." It's more awkward to keep saying thank you than it is to say, "Oh, it's cool, man. Yeah, fuck that though." So, hey, what do you do? Like, what's your work? What do you love? Do you have kids? Whatever, you know. It's so much better to talk about that. It's real.
Do you not want to come off cocky or something of that nature if you're just like, yeah, dude, I know, which you're not going to say, but
no,
you'd be
it's because the reality of it is, at least for me, when people say the things they say, a lot of times it's not exaggerated necessarily, but it's like, oh my God, man, you're like the coolest drummer ever to watch, or you're this or you're that. And in my head, I know that's not true.
And I think you should still acknowledge the compliment.
I do.
Right,
And
right.
no,
Instead
look,
of minimizing it.
hold on. I do. I absolutely. To get to a level where that's happening a lot, you have to, because it takes a certain level of confidence to perform, to exude that. So I'm confident about my ability, and I'm really comfortable taking those kinds of compliments, but I don't want to stay on it.
Sure.
I think there's a really fine line that you have to walk between feeding into it and saying thank you in the proper way. And obviously it's going to change from person to person, slight variations.
Real.
And it's really easy to fall off that line. But the thing is, like, if you don't say it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you don't say thank you, then you kind of look like, oh, no, it's no big deal. Like, this is easy. And if you thank them, you might come off as like, yeah, dude, I know, which is not what you want to convey. Then it just comes back to, you don't really have a relationship with these people. It's more, you're trying to start to build the relationship. So finding a way to just, no, dude, like, you know, whatever you can say, and I'm sure you can practice something that makes more sense, or Jordan could have something, maybe you've thought of something and bringing that up.
Do you mind if I say them really quick? I feel like you absolutely should take a second to appreciate the compliment.
Right.
Because it's not easy for anyone to open up and be vulnerable, even enough to say, hey, I really liked what you did. That takes some balls to say that to anybody, especially if it's someone that you look up to.
Right.
Because I could just as easily just like not say anything and think it and be like, you know, yeah, this guy's awesome or this girl's awesome, but not actually go say it. So I do take a second to appreciate it, and I think people should take a second to appreciate what is behind the compliment.
Sure.
You know, it takes a little bit of effort to give one, but then you acknowledge it, and I think either it's the kind of scenario where the conversation's over at that point, like, thanks so much, man, I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Bye. Or if it's the kind of thing where it's going to go on and on, I don't want to keep talking about myself in that context. And if I do, I'd rather flip the switch and relate on something that they don't realize that I know about. It's funny, my buddy Saul Orwell was taught, he's an entrepreneur from examine.com, and he posts every week different things, and he was saying something like, he feels that the reason he's gotten good at networking was because he knows and researches on purpose so many different things, like reads all sorts of different magazines, different news sites, different books, different topics, so that when he meets someone, he can always find something to connect to him, which I think you, Justin, make a point to do that too. And right. I know that's one of your strengths, but there's really something to that. And I think that ties into being able to communicate to someone who is in a little bit of a different mental state than you are in that scenario where I'm calm, they're excited. What kind of questions can I ask to get them talking about something that's going to make them feel calm because they're confident in discussing it?
Right.
It's really interesting because it's not something that I would actively think about in how to make that happen. It's just been practice and practice and practice of subconsciously just going through those motions, right? And it is interesting that I that is something that even in the exercise we did last time that I wrote of being able to hold a conversation with someone on what really is their interest and has nothing to do with mine. And I always knew, I remember reading books with stuff like this, like How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it wasn't in like a bullshit kind of way of how to win people over, but it was more in I know that what I'm into is very, very niche specific, maybe like an esoteric kind of way of vintage. At the time, I remember I'd always think when I thought about this, I would say, vintage bass guitars from the 50s and 60s. Most people don't want to have that conversation, or they wouldn't know what to say. It would be very one and done. And so it was easier for me to open up the forum and say, hey, what are you into? And maybe I always thought that I lucked out that I was ready to talk on whatever the subject may be. But I think it was just having a lot of random interest and having the personality that would just keep floating from one to the next.
But I think just talking about networking or even more generally social skills, people are going to get more comfortable and light up and be more engaged when they're talking about things of their own interest, right? So there's nothing stopping any of us or anyone listening when we're introduced to someone or chatting with someone that we don't know that well by asking about what they're interested in. And that doesn't mean that you have to know anything about it, but you can ask good questions to learn about it.
Yeah, it's very true.
And that's a really nice way to get people engaged with you. And to tie it back to the Periphery camp, you were talking about that a lot of the connections are really formed around meals or the downtime in between the programming. And I've noticed that just going to conferences and things of that nature, that it's during the meals and asking to sit next to someone that you want to get to know better, right? Or the times, the breaks in between, hanging outside, wherever the room is that the programming would be taking place. Like, that's the real stuff. That's when you can actually connect and, quote, network with the people that you really want to get involved with or in touch with or just learn from. And I think that's just so useful, but the idea is that it really takes each of us to say, I'm going to be the one to start the conversation. I'm going to take initiative and lead, right? So I'm going to go up and say, hey, would you like to have lunch together? And I'll be the one when I'm talking to a stranger to be like, tell me about what you're interested in, right? And I think if all of us kind of had that ability to lean into leading and taking initiative, not only are we going to have better interactions with people, but we end up showing our leadership, right? Especially if it's a networking context. By doing that, you're actually showing that you're comfortable enough to take initiative. I think maybe 5-6 years ago, I was on a plane and this older guy was sitting next to me. I just offered him blueberries. And then an hour later, he's quizzing me about how the brain works. And apparently he was this like super impressive, influential person to where the flight attendants were treating him with like great respect and dignity. But he was willing to really engage with me and connect me to some other people because I was comfortable enough to say, hey, stranger, would you like some blueberries?
I think that's the same catalyst that chocolate croissants can be. And I would challenge anyone to go get some chocolate croissants and grab some friends and then find some random people. Go sit outside. It's nice. We were just outside, right? Wherever you are, hopefully it's nice. And you can sit down and you can offer a stranger, hey, would you like to have this? Because it's almost like sliding doors. You have no idea if you actually say hey to someone or make that connection, what that could do.
For sure. And it's not always going to be a planned thing either, but there's always a literal thing that you can connect on. I notice most people in business calls do it about the weather the minute a business call starts. I was actually talking to Dez from GGD about this the other day because even he and I were partners and we get on this call, we're waiting for other people and it's like, hey man, so how's the weather in England? And it's like, why is it the weather? But it's something that we all can very quickly relate on. And if we're in different locations, we're going to have different stories to tell.
Right. It's universal.
It's universal. So aside from the weather, it can be anything. If you're having a meal, it's, oh man, that meal looks really good. I got the other thing. How is that? Let
me get a bite.
Oh, it's meat? That's cool. Are you a big fan of Wagyu beef? I don't know. I mean, it's like there's so many different things that you could, choose to touch points on,
And to really get under the hood of what Matt's talking about, it really has nothing to do with the content of the conversation. Right, so having that type of small talk, it has nothing to do with with the type of meat, or it has nothing to do with whether it's raining or not. But it's creating a process between two people or between a group of people. And by having some random universal content to actually talk about, by doing that, you're establishing a rapport and a connection with people. And then from there, you can assess, well, this feels nice. I want to continue with this or not, right? But it's really the difference between content and process. And I think that's really, really key. And that's applicable to all of our social situations.
I've talked about this before on my Snapchat, but this is something that I see happen all the time in this realm of conversation. You know, there's a lot of people that work in the service industry, like food service or beverage service industry, who you kind of, when you work in that field, you end up developing really good social skills because you're dealing with all sorts of people. You're essentially selling to them, and you know, you can't tell somebody what they like to taste, what they like to drink. So it's more about selling an experience, right? And I started thinking about this a lot because I used to wait tables and I used to bartend, and you know, I met all sorts of people. And when I would meet people that were engaging and kind with me, it would make me work even better for them, of course. And when I met people that were like really dry and like didn't give a shit about what I was doing or the effort that I was putting in, it absolutely made me feel like, okay, fine. Well, I'm going to give you the effort that you're expecting of me then. Even I wouldn't stoop to that level. I would remain, but I would think about that. The thing that I see happen though is time and time again, I see service people in different scenarios where they have been beaten up so much by shitty customers that they have no reason to feel like they should be nice or perky or excited or engaging. But the minute that someone actually asks them a personal question as simple as, hey, how's your day? You see them perk up like, oh my God, I'm not invisible. And I see this happen mainly at like supermarkets often, where like, you know, behind the deli counter, which is especially where we're from in Pikesville, or at least I'm from Pikesville, which is just, there's a lot of snotty people. And I see people walk up to these deli counters and they talk to the people that are working the service, and they're like, yeah, give me this. Yeah, give me that. No, you got the order wrong. I didn't ask for this. I want this now. And how are you ever going to respect someone that's talking to you like that? I mean, yeah, the goal then is just to get them whatever they need as fast as possible, get them out of your face. But I see this happen all the time. And you think because of that this place doesn't provide good service. I think that's bullshit. I don't blame the person behind the counter for being a little bit quiet, maybe not as enthused, when they're getting treated like shit like that all the time. And if everybody made an effort to treat people in the service industry like human beings and take a second and understand that, yes, they are going to serve you. However, they can do it with a smile or they can do it feeling really shitty, and you're probably going to feel better if they do it with a smile, and you can help make that happen is the point.
And that shit's so easy. Like, and not only is it easy, but you end up feeling better, right? And I think the ways that we interact with others is just a reflection of ourselves. So when you have that stereotypical person who is being demanding and ignorant, talking to someone who's there to serve them, to me, that's just a reflection of how they kind of internally speak to themselves, right? I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I can almost have empathy for that person. And maybe if I'm behind the deli counter, it's like, fuck, I feel sad for you. Mm-hmm. But it depends if that person behind the deli counter is coming from that place or not, right? It could ruin their day. It could. And that sucks because it's so easy to just be kind to people, to acknowledge people.
It's as simple as, before you say, I'd like to order this, take 1 second and say, hey, how's your day? And yesterday I actually saw some guy do this, and it was just like, it was such a good exchange. And it was just so surprising because I never see people do this, you know.
Do you do it?
I do it all the time. Right. I always do it. But this guy walked up to the deli counter, totally unassuming, and the lady behind the counter was like, hey, how may I help you? And he was like, hey, how's your day going? And she was like, it's great. Thank you for asking. How may I help you? And he was like, I'd like this. And she was like, no problem. Great exchange. Everybody's happy. She's ready to work with more customers. He's leaving with a good taste in his mouth. You know, no pun intended. And it was great. I just don't see it often. And I wish more people would think about those scenarios.
I think that really plays into the dynamic of our relationships, that we are very considerate people, right? And we're considerate for one another, but that then translates to the real world. And I'll find myself that sometimes I walk in and I'm in a rush, and I'm sure we've all dealt with this before, and someone says to me, like, hey, how's it going? Or like, hey, how's your day? Hey, how are you? Whatever it may be, right? And you're so frazzled, not really thinking, that you just brush it off and you start talking. And I've caught myself a little more recently being more conscious of it, where I'm like, oh, wait a second. I say to myself, stop. And then I'll start the whole conversation over. Wait, hey, I'm good. How are you? Because I realize I just fucked up. I jumped the gun. And I don't want that interaction to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, that turns someone who maybe had the will to be super nice, or like, as you were saying, the people come in, they're super nice, but then it's the people who come in that are maybe a little bit more down, that you maybe initially tried to win over, and because you never got the respect or the response you were looking for so many times, then you just start to not even try, right? And I don't ever want to be the one, and none of us want to be the ones who break the spirit. We always want to make sure that we're on the other side, and that's with each other. That's with all the relationships that we have. We're always trying to pump people up versus pushing them down, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's really big. That does translate into how you treat the people that you're around the most will then translate to how you treat others. And that's a reflection on ourselves. So I remember I always find it so shocking. People say, hey, how are you doing? And I say, wonderful. I don't know why I always say wonderful, but I use wonderful. I don't say good. I don't say okay, whatever. I always say wonderful. And 1 out of 8 are like shocked. And then I ask them, why aren't you wonderful? What's going on? And I let them vent for a minute. Like, play back at me. Tell me why you're not having the best day. How can I make it better?
But what if you're having a shitty day?
I'll probably tell them what's going on, but I'll thank them for asking and for actually acknowledging what's going on with me, which is what I want to try to provide as much as possible.
Right. So I think there's some people could listen to this conversation and be like, well, they're full of shit and it's just fake, that like they're just nice to everybody.
For sure.
Right. I think the key is that we're just acknowledging the other's presence and we're just real and honest. And you can have a shitty day and still treat everyone you interact with respect, especially if they're serving you.
Right. And that really goes back to whether we meet someone in life, whether they're someone that we put on a pedestal or anybody, right? And the same thing with tying it back to Matt going on tour in a couple of days, and he's going to do VIP, the meet and greet stuff beforehand. He's going to meet people afterwards, and he's going to try to just make them realize that, dude, I'm just like you. Put pants on in the morning. I take a shit. I work out. I do things.
In that order?
I was thinking the same thing.
I put pants on. I take a shit. I work out.
But maybe you do, and no judgment.
Right, exactly.
I want to address what you said, though, because it's true. Not every day am I chipper and excited, and a lot of times I'm super busy when I'm running around and I'm doing things. Other times I'm focused on my own shit. And I have to really remind myself to be aware of the other people around me who also have their stuff going on, and to never assume that I'm more important than them. And that in and of itself is something that grounds me even in that moment when I'm feeling flustered. It's like, hold on. All these people that are around me, everybody walking on the street, everybody parking their cars, whatever it is, they're all on their way somewhere too. They all have something to do. They all have someone they care about or some agenda. And I need to respect that. Maybe theirs is just as important as mine. And that is a great way to stay, grounded about this shit.
That's empathy.
Yeah.
And I think, because you're right. I mean, a lot of people feel like you are the center of your own universe. And that's true. But if you're able to open that up and realize that, like, you are just part of the universe and everyone's a part of it, then you can really, like, have empathy. And with that, you're more open and there's more possibility and there's more aliveness, at least in my experience.
So in that, with tour coming up, what are certain things, what are rituals, what are things maybe you've done in the past that maybe you're changing for the next run? You've got 2 runs almost back to back, right? And you've got tons of things going on in your life, business stuff and personal things. What are rituals that you've done that have worked to help you mitigate some of those issues of like, oh, I'm going through some shit, but I have all these things that I have to tend to? And what are things maybe that didn't really work in the past that you're thinking about changing for this upcoming run?
To be honest, it's really just about the consistency of the day and the regimen that you get into on tour. You don't sleep very much. You're constantly moving. You're constantly around people, and you have to learn how to find some sense of self when you're never alone and you're never still.
So how do you find balance in all of that?
Well, everybody in the band does it differently, but we all have our own time to do our own things, and we respect that about each other. And, we'll all hang out and stuff like that, but there's times for everybody every day where they do their own thing. Some people use that time in the morning to sleep in. Some people use that time to wander off and explore the city during the day. Some people keep really busy. Some people just chill and relax and take their time and enjoy tour as sort of like a vacation where you're performing and having fun. I personally feel the best on tour when I am in constant motion. I love to work. I love to be busy. I like to see things happen and interact with people throughout the day.
So when the tour starts, go through a normal day to day. What time do you wake up? What are you thinking about? Where are you going? What are you doing?
So I'm part of the crew in the sense that I don't have a drum tech and I set up my own drums. So I need to load in and set up my drums with the crew, whereas the rest of my band doesn't really need to be in the venue for a little bit later.
And what time is that?
It depends on the day, but sometimes it's 11, sometimes it's noon, sometimes it's 1.
Okay.
Our first show, I think 10 a.m., so it's an early one because we want more time to just like get settled with the stage setup and all that stuff. But I'll be up early. I'll be up by like 7:30, 8 a.m. every day with the crew. And typically we go out and we grab breakfast and coffee every morning. We come back. We chill for a little bit. That's usually time for me when I'll have phone calls in the morning or I'll do some work, whatever it may be. I mean, it's about to be a busy afternoon, so I try to get as much done as I can. Then I load in. I set up my drums. I tune my drums. That takes some time. After that, I usually go out, and if I have lessons that day, drum lessons, that's when I'll set up my lessons. I'll find the location of where I'm going to teach. I'll maybe talk to like the venue manager or someone to let them know that I'm going to be bringing people in the venue or outside the venue.
So when you're looking for a place to do the lesson, I've never been or seen one of your lessons on tour. So can you just describe what that looks like and what kind of space are you ideally looking for at a venue?
If the weather is great, I'll just do it in the trailer. Like, so, our bus pulls a trailer with all our gear.
So you'll set up your drum kit in the trailer and everybody will sit around?
I'll either set up a small mini teaching drum kit or I'll set up a pad setup that's close enough to what I need to teach. And it's definitely all I really need to teach. And I'll do it in a trailer in like a confined space like that where, I like the trailer because I set up in the back looking out and everybody else is sitting sort of in like a horseshoe looking at me. So there's no distractions.
Right.
There's walls on all sides and they got to look behind them if they're going to see anything else. So it really helps to keep people focused. So I like that. But if I'm doing it in the venue because it's super cold or super hot outside, I just look for a place, honestly, that's out of the way of all the hustle bustle. I don't want to be in the way of any of the business that needs to take place for the show to go on. I don't want to get in the way of the opening bands. I don't want to get in the way of the stage or my sound guy. And I'm lucky to have a crew that is a little bit flexible with me, with that kind of stuff. Sometimes I have to keep the lessons to a strict hour because it is in the venue. There really isn't other places to go outside of the main room. And the show's got to go on. So I got to either teach a lesson with tons of noise or I got to stick to the time that is set for the lesson.
Does this change vastly if you guys are the opening or a supporting act versus the headlining act?
Absolutely. As a headlining act, I have more leeway and I can sort of set the rules. I can sort of say to my crew, hey, listen, I'm teaching at this hour in this location and I need an hour. And usually they're pretty cool about it. I don't really say it that stern, but we can make a little bit more flexibility there. Whereas when we're the opening band, it's not even a question that you ask. You simply figure out the place to do it that is out of everyone's way, and you don't get in anyone's way or interrupt any of the stuff that's going on that day. You just stay out of it. So, at that point, like, I don't know, let's say that's like 1 o'clock ish, 1:30, I'll set up my teaching rig. If I have time then, maybe a half hour, I'll do a workout, which is another thing that I typically do by myself to sort of keep focus. But we'll see if anybody shows up on this tour to do some battle rope work with me. We'll see about that in different cities. But anyway, then it's sound check. And we typically sound check for, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour.
What time is that usually?
It depends. Sometimes it's like usually like 2:30. And then I teach.
And this is just as a headliner.
Yeah. But even if we're a support act and we have a sound check, it's going to be somewhere in like the maybe 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. range, like before doors open.
Will you finish everything, checking, whatever you guys need to get through with your crew, front of house, monitors, the whole nine, before the other bands get in to set up?
Yeah, absolutely. We try to.
And how many openers on this tour?
We have some openers. We have 3 openers. But yeah, I mean, even so, we're not like particular about having the venue to ourselves. If the opening bands want to show up and set up their gear on the floor and get loaded in, our crew is pretty cool about that kind of stuff. So that's not a big deal, and it doesn't really bother us in any way. But yeah, so we'll sound check at like 2:30. Then I'll actually have my students show up at 2:45.
Right.
I'll teach at 3, do the lesson as long as I can, sometimes from 3 to 4:30 if I can make it work. A lot of times we have VIP or the meet and greet starting at 5. Ooh. So I try to give myself a nice at least half-hour buffer to have a snack, have a drink, kind of decompress from teaching, break down, close up the trailer, and then I go to meet people. And it can be a little tiring because I've just spent an hour and a half talking about drumming. And a lot of times in the meet and greets, I will encounter new people that want to ask questions about drumming. So it's a good thing that I really like that topic. But again, I'm on, Yeah,
this is not a typical 9 to 5. You get up, you take a shit, you get your breakfast, and then you get to work at 9. You kind of just go through the motions. I mean, you're full on from the time you wake up around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning until you're done playing.
Well, yeah, like right now we're at 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Right.
So after meet and greet, then that's usually our time to sort of relax before the show. So at that time, I'll have a small snack if I didn't already do that. Okay. And I usually will use that time to like make myself dinner or go buy something for after the show that I have there for later, like food-wise. If we have friends that are in town, that's usually when we try to have them come hang out or, bullshit around. And then at about 8 o'clock, 8:30, that's when I kick on my stage clothes typically. And I go into the venue, into the dressing room, and I start warming up my feet for about an hour. I do like a whole workout thing just to get my hands and feet warmed up.
Using what?
I use pedals and a actual like pedal pad that I have. So I set that up and I work with a metronome and I work on kind of just getting my feet nice and warm, pumped up. If there's enough time, like let's say that's at 8:30, at 8 o'clock, I'll do like a 4-6 workout or like a 10-minute hit to get my blood pumping and get my heart rate up so that by the time I do hit the stage at 10 o'clock, I'm warm. I'm not going to be sweating as much. I'm not going to be out of breath. My feet are warm. My hands are warm. And I can really enjoy the interaction that takes place between myself and the other bandmates and then the people in the audience. And then at the end, after the show, let's say that's 11:30, if I'm lucky enough to have my sound guy in the mood to do it, he'll break down my kit so I can go chill.
Okay.
But a lot of times I will actually break down my drum set myself and pack it up. Then I'll shower, and by then it's like midnight, and I don't want to do anything but be quiet and like read a book, decompress, eat some food, and I'm asleep by 1 a.m. and then up again the next day, 7:30, 8 a.m. to do it all again.
This sounds like, did you go to sleepaway camp, like a good camp growing up?
I never really did, no.
This sounds like camp. You're up super early and it's just go, 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 go. And by the time your head hits the pillow, which I don't really do a lot of this, but I just remember some of it, it's so hot outside, whatever it is, you're just exhausted. Mm-hmm. And you really, it's almost exhausting to listen to. It's just go, go, go. And I was trying to figure out where in there do you decompress, but you only give yourself half an hour breaks. And I'm sure Jordan and I can maybe relate on some level if we have back to back to back, maybe lessons or teaching people or doing an engagement, a speaking engagement, or you have to go somewhere and then you're on the next one. And when you don't build in those half an hour breaks or you don't get them because of variable change, do you ever say to yourself, damn, I wish I had 30 minutes just to decompress, to meditate, to relax? Or are you happy with the I'm on, and then when I switch the switch to off, I'm like completely off?
There's a lot of days like that. But the reality of it is there's always some downtime before the show, and it's usually at, 6 o'clock-ish. So even if I have to hustle from 11 a.m. load-in to 6 or 6:30 p.m. after VIP, that's okay. That's not bad. And I'm used to that, and I'm okay with that. So, yeah, I'm grinding. I'm pushing through. I probably have phone calls even in between and other stuff to do, but fuck it. I mean, it's fun. It makes the day go much faster in a way that's productive.
How often are you guys doing press in each city?
It depends. I typically don't do press on tour just because my schedule is so full with lessons and things like that. Whereas the other guys who aren't teaching or have a little bit more leisure time, they'll fill that time with the press. So it's been a pretty cool understanding amongst us all, unless it's like a drum magazine in particular that really wants to talk, or they want to film my lesson or something like that, then I typically stay away from press on tour.
Smart.
Yeah. But look, everybody respects each other. That's the cool part. Like when I say, hey guys, sorry, I got to go teach. They're like, okay, cool. Have a great lesson. If people want to go do whatever they want to do, it's like, there's been close calls in the past where like people in the band have gone off and they've taken a train in some city in Europe, and then the train gets stuck and we wonder if they're going to get back in time for the show, but it always works out. But that's happened. But that happens so rarely that we trust everybody to just kind of find their groove and do whatever it is that they need to do to maintain that sort of personal homeostasis on tour, because it is not like anything else. You aren't shitting in the same toilet every day like you do at home. You aren't showering in the same shower every day. You're never eating the same food. You're never meeting the same people. The only familiarity is where you sleep, the fact that you are moving constantly, and that you're around a very small, tight-knit group of people. And if you don't learn how to coexist together, then it's going to make that hard situation almost impossible,
Is there a show that you are looking forward to on this run or on the European run? Is there anything in particular, or maybe a restaurant, food, since you do love going to flavor country? I know that you're bummed when you're in Copenhagen that you're not going to be able to go to Noma. But is there something? Is there like a 3 Michelin star restaurant you're looking forward to, or so you go, oh fuck, when I'm in Chicago, I get the hot dog, the pizza?
There's always good stuff in every city.
But anything in particular?
Off the top of my head, not really that I can think of, but I'll remember once I'm sort of there. Like I'll know, like, oh shit, we're in this city. Like this city has this great restaurant or this great coffee shop or whatever it is. But no, I'm looking forward to just playing some shows. Toronto, Montreal, they're always great markets for us. We love playing in New York, New Jersey. Those are always great. We haven't been to Florida in a while, so I'm excited for that. Chicago is always a killer market for us. We always have a really fun show in Birmingham, Alabama.
You better bring it.
It's just, there's a lot of cool places that we're going on this tour that it's a lot of fun. So,
great.
And look, Europe is great because the food is so different.
Sure.
And there is so much good food everywhere you go in Europe. We're going to be in France a lot. France is some of the best cooking in the world.
Gonna bring back some chocolate croissants?
Please.
I'm not going to bring them back. I'm going to eat the shit out of them, though, over there, for sure.
You know what gets me really pumped when I think about Europe? Butter.
Oh, dude. You don't
Right?
even know.
I'm telling you.
Do you know? You've been there. You've been to Europe.
Yeah, I've been like 4 or 5 times.
God,
I get
butter.
super pumped about the butter. It's the best. But that's why I buy, like whatever, President or the Kerrygold. I get super pumped.
So when we went to that restaurant for your birthday, that was pig's fat? That was like a butter substitute?
Oh, it was lard.
Where'd you go?
So we went to Parts and Labor.
Oh, okay.
Baltimore, a good, like a snout to tail, farm to table kind of restaurant. Pretty
Remington.
cool. In Remington.
What's up?
Where Jordan lives. It's pretty cool.
I've posted food from there on my Instagram before.
I don't think we had 2 people who came with us that don't really get into food. They ended up ordering the hamburger tartare as hamburgers. They cooked them a couple hamburgers. And I think it was kind of, it was a very expensive one-off hamburger with no side. That's, if you're not into food, that's strange.
So what, 16.50, 17
I think
bucks?
it was, they both got doubles and it was like $15, but they're small, right? Okay. Jordan went all out.
I did.
He started with the freaking
When in Remington.
chicken feet. And they said they were going to take it off the menu because no one got really down with like biting the pad to get the collagen out of it. And then they never took it off. But it was all good. We gnawed on it. Good flavor. Whatever. What else did you get?
I got the whatever winter green salad, which is mostly kale and like a ranch type dressing.
It was like-
it
yeah,
was
like-
good. It's
yeah, it was
super
good.
raw. It was nice. And I got some sausage.
Lamb.
Yeah, I think it was maybe a lamb sausage, but they had like a mustard seed type of thing with it too. It was good. Would I go back there again? Probably not. But to try it, I felt like if I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna try some of their shit.
You should go back. Because
Yeah.
they change the menu often, and
Okay.
there's a lot of great stuff. I know you do like burgers, and their burgers are exquisite.
I see there's a huge billboard right outside the restaurant just promoting like happy hour burgers.
They're
We
great.
should do that.
Yeah.
great.
When you
Burgers
get
are
back,
great.
I think we should go back. I actually would go back for my fiance got what was like an English breakfast, right? So she got the blood sausage. She got the blood sausage and an egg and potatoes. I would go back for breakfast in a heartbeat. That's we don't really get that here. We don't get the beans. We get toast.
So you asked what I'm looking forward to most.
Oh.
And what I'm looking forward to most is the breakfast that I am able to try in all the different cities. Because that's really the meal that I can go out and sit down in a restaurant and eat something there.
Do you relax? You relax over
Yeah,
breakfast,
like-
a coffee.
The Breakfast Club, who are usually like me and
Who's
my
in
sound
it?
guy and our tour manager, and maybe Jake.
Give me some names. Who's in it?
So Matt Rosenblum
Matt Rosie.
is our tour manager.
Where's
he
he
goes by
from?
Rosie.
Where's
Probably
from?
Pikesville.
Right outside. Yeah, Rosenblum.
He's from New Jersey.
Shalom.
He's from New Jersey.
All right, shout out to Jersey.
Alex Marquides
Yep,
is
front
our
of
sound
house.
guy. He's front of house. He's our production manager as well.
Okay.
He's from Bethesda,
Rock and roll.
and we love to eat together.
Hell yeah.
That's like our thing.
It's the three of you guys. Are there more?
Yeah, there's more than Stosh.
Stosh.
Stosh Roble, also from New Jersey.
Stosh
He
0.0.
does our merchandise.
Okay.
He'll always venture out with us in the morning for breakfast. And then every now and then you'll get a Misha Mansour joining us, or you'll get a Jake Bowen joining us. But typically, that's your breakfast club.
Do you have nicknames for any of those guys in your band?
Just Rosie.
Rosie.
Yeah, just Rosie.
Have you ever had a nickname?
No,
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah, but not one I can repeat here.
I would feel like people would take the first album and they would go, "Oh, this with one swing of a stick," right?
People can stop doing that now.
For sure. It's
okay
like
to
Foo
stop.
Fighters and Mentos.
It's totally cool to never ask me again if I can break.
Yeah, let's explain to
3
Jordan.
symbols with one
So
stick.
there was like a really goofy after song little interlude in between the songs, and it was just like introducing the 6 members of the band.
It was like Spencer Sotelo has soaring vocals, and Misha Mansour.
Yeah, like up like an ox, or down like an ox, or something.
Misha Mansour, like the cover of Brown Magazine,
Right.
and
Jake.
Matt Halpern, the only drummer who can break 3 cymbals with one swing of the stick.
Oh, and look over there, it's Jake Bowen or something. It's
Right. So
Trent Reznor.
everyone comes up to me and they're like, "Is it true you can break 3 cymbals with one stick?"
They say it with that tone.
That's sort of like
Jordan, let me
how
hear you
I
do it.
perceive it.
This is the same feeling I had when you're trying to tell me about the movie It.
I'll just play the thing for him, though he doesn't care, so we won't play it for him.
It doesn't matter.
You've heard it before.
I do want to see It though. That sounds fun. I never got into Star Wars, and I name dropped the Death
Death
Star.
Star.
And I saw episode 1 when it came out like twice. But apparently people say like those 3 films from the late 90s, early 2000s, like it's not what it was with the original 3. So our friend Ryan, I mean, he's hardcore into it. He has like, from his pec down to his shoulder a whole Star Wars tattoo. So maybe a month leading up to The Force Awakens, I watched the 3 original with him. And it was so nice because I got to ask him questions throughout. And he was really into helping me understand the films. And I loved it. And I've since seen the 2 movies that have come out in theaters. And even opening night at the Senator in Baltimore, they had freaking, like, the news was there, but even better, it was just all these stormtroopers lined up as we walked into the theater. And it was really cool. Point being, I think it would be nice to see a movie like it with you and to feel some of kind of you geeking out.
Yeah, the connection.
Can you feel
Right.
it now?
Yeah, for
I have
sure.
been.
Yeah,
I have been.
absolutely.
Hell
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I started. I mean, I was already like, I was actively thinking an hour or so ago when we started this, we have to start with what Matt won't shut up about because you keep going, guys.
Do you know what tomorrow is?
And now I'm actually pumped.
You
to
really
watch it.
should.
I wanna-
You should watch the commercial.
I might wait till you're here in 2 days on Thursday to watch it with you.
Why?
I'll get excited in September.
I'm gonna watch it,
I
try to
just
get
went to
excited.
Universal Studios, and everyone is just going nuts in this Harry Potter world.
Dude, you got to let me, not now on the
Which we don't
podcast,
get.
but you got to let me explain the theory behind it to you.
Are you into Harry Potter?
Of course.
Oh, that I'm interested in kind of learning, because all these people are running around
Wands.
with $30 wands like it's like the greatest orgasm ever. And I'm like, fuck, that looks fun. But I haven't, and I've seen some of the films, but I was really high and don't remember any of it. And like, I want to get some of that. I want to
So
understand
It's
it.
going to come back to you have to read the book. Everyone says you have to read the books. And I've never read the books. I've never seen any of the movies, but I've been to Universal and I've been on the rides and I get that the rides are cool. I don't get the story. I've been to Platform 9 3/4, had a whole conversation about that, but it wasn't like I was holding on and trying to fly through the air, going through the wall.
Did you run through the wall?
I didn't do any of it. I don't get it.
Here's the thing, though, is that Pennywise would beat the shit out of Voldemort. Okay? That's how badass he is, and that's why you need to be excited about it.
Would you
Okay.
play? Would you play if Xbox came out with a game where it was it and Voldemort and Darth Vader and all of
And Freddy.
all the
Movie villains.
movie villains
Okay.
in a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter sense? Would you be all over it, headset on, being like "fuck you, little kid," like fighting people and like you know losing it the way people lose it in video games?
I'm pretty sure there is a game where you can turn into Freddy Krueger, and it might actually,
Mortal Kombat. Maybe.
it might be Mortal Kombat, but
I
I
think
think
that'd
our
be the
listeners can probably tell us for sure.
Yeah, please help us out. And if you post a video, show us what's up.
But yeah, shit. Of course I would.
So
I would be.
would you invest in this as a project?
No, I would just play the shit out of it.
Yeah, but if it's not a tangible thing yet, would you be interested in starting the idea?
No, but it would be so sick to like do a VR to play a
Ooh.
VR game
Yeah.
where you're being chased and hunted by all of these villains.
Oh, this is good. Well,
And how cool would it be if it were none of the other villains but just Pennywise? And like that's
and
who
do you
is
guys
hunting
know?
you?
Do you guys know what tomorrow is?
Okay, but hold on. And then we'll wrap this up.
Okay.
But the reason I keep saying that is because the cool thing about Pennywise, or it, is that it is a shapeshifter.
Yes.
So it can become anything.
Is he only called Pennywise in clown form?
Correct. And the clown is...
I know the whole movie.
No, you don't. Because the clown is the form that it takes most often because it likes to prey on children. And that's a great kind of character to position yourself as.
As a person who loves horror, do you ever freak people out showing people your arm?
No.
That's
It's-
so vague. So Matt loves his horror, and he's got
My
some,
arm is a horror story.
Yeah, he's got a
What
little.
about See No Evil? How does that stack against the horror classics?
Agreed.
See No Evil. Is that the one? I don't know if I saw that.
Kane
With Kane, who's
Kane.
running for mayor next year,
I didn't see it.
instant classic.
May 19th.
I'm not sure that one really makes the cut.
Okay. He, yeah, try it out. I only see movies that, like, I don't even see superhero films, but I saw Guardians of the Galaxy because Batista was in it.
That's cool, but the It trailer comes out tomorrow.
Yes. And if you're listening to this, That was
We're gonna still post the It trailer.
I'm totally going to share it in the group.
Yeah, no. But in like a month, and it's gonna be way past due.
Well, no, but there'll be another one. You guys don't get it. This is like the
Hyped.
hype machine right now. This is going to be so hype. It's oh my God. I'm so excited.
this show has gone off the rails.
Yeah, for
It has,
sure.
but that's okay.
When we went into
So-
service industry, I was trying to figure out what happened.
No, I think
but it was.
that-
I still like that we had that conversation.
It's fluid, guys.
I'm just saying.
All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this here episode of Chocolate Croissants.
Yes, we are going to get some more chocolate croissants.
We will soon.
We've eaten them all.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Any questions, send them in. We'll get to them. I promise.
Have a great time on tour, Matt.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Well, we'll see you Thursday before. We'll do some real goodbyes.
Cut it out.
Oh, Lord. All right. I'm gonna
Okay,
go
see you later.
Architects.
I'm
Bye.
leaving.